I'm going to show you how to replace the element of an electric water heater today. At the end, I'll talk about why and talk about tools list, but I don't want to waste time on that here. At the beginning, let's just jump right into it. Step one when you're working on an electric water heater is always turn the power off. You're going to turn the power off at the breaker, you're going to turn it off at the electrical disconnect that's at the water heater, and then you need to inspect that it was actually turned off. We're filming in the inventory warehouse today, and I've got our little water heater that we cut open that we use for teaching and training purposes at Tennessee Standard Plumbing. So I don't actually have power to this, but I'm going to show you guys exactly how to check for the power. Once I've disconnected it at the breaker, I'm going to get my Fluke multimeter and I'm going to turn it on volts and AC, which is the squiggly line. DC is the dash with the bar over it. I'm a plumber, not an electrician, so bear with me. But I do know how to be safe on this stuff. So I've already got the cover to the upper element and thermostat removed, okay? You can see there's a black and a red wire coming down right into the top of this. That's the same black and red wire that the incoming power is feeding this thing. There's no switch, there's nothing in between where the power comes in and these right here. So these should be live at all times, and the thermostat determines where the power is sent for when the elements are firing, right? So if I turn this on to voltage and AC and I touch both of these prongs to the top here, these top two screws, and I get no voltage, I'm good, we're safe, we can get to work, right? A lot of you plumbers out there have those beeper pins. It will detect current. Man, I've had situations where tested an outlet, beep, 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 hold it up to the wire, and it says there's no power, and then there was. Very dangerous, don't want to get into that, so I always want to check it with a real multimeter, and I'll always check a live outlet to make sure your multimeter is working before you check and confirm that the power is off to the water heater. Step number two, once the power's cut, is get the water off. So you're gonna shut the water off either at the house or hopefully there's a shut off right above the water heater. You're gonna open up the drain port here. This is a good high quality brass one that's a ball valve. You're gonna drain the thing down with a water hose out to wherever you're going. That way you can get the water off of here. If we go trying to pull an element out, that's just right into the inside of this water heater. It's gonna blow water everywhere. So step number two, get the water off and drain the water heater down. Now, step number three, one of only a couple tools that you need to be able to do this. I've got a breaker bar and I've got a Camco water heater element socket. This is an 1.5 inch socket. This is the most standard size for a water heater element, okay? And there are some really unique water heaters out there with specialty parts. If you got a manual or you look on the side and pull the serial model number, you can look up online what it needs. But this is just a very standard 50-gallon electric heater. And I would say over 75% of water heaters out there have a socket or have an element that a socket like this works for the best. So I've got this ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the electrical from this element. Notice this is the element right here. We got the thermostat and then we got the element. So you remove the power from that. We're gonna take our socket, and the big long breaker bar helps a lot. It really does. This one gets rebuilt a lot, so there's no fight here. A lot of times in the field, you're freaking grunting and hustling, trying to get it out of there. This one comes out no problem. If the element is blown and split, it can be a challenge to get out because it can get hung up on the edge of the water heater. But there it is, and you can see this one had a recall issue. That's why we've got it as our training model, but you can see where the element actually it dry fired or caused it to get burned up right there. So that was the story with this water heater. Now, what element goes back in the water heater? The important thing is you've got to get the right wattage and voltage that lines up with the water heater that you've got. How can you figure that out? Simple answer, it's on the side of the water heater 9 times out of 10. So this right here, this State Pro line, it says right here, it's 240 volts, one phase, watts upper 4,500, watts lower 4,500. So I want to replace this upper element with a 4,500 watt element, okay? And that's exactly what I've got here. I've got a 240 volt, 4,500 watt element, brand new. And most important thing, this seal. Do not mess up with this seal. Don't lose it. Don't install it without it. I've seen guys lose this and try to put tape in dope around these threads, that's not gonna cut it. You gotta have this seal, okay? So we're gonna slide the seal in place. And then I said tape and dope is not gonna cut it without the seal, but pro tip right here, you wanna put a little bit of pipe dope on this. It is going to make a world of difference. Real quick, before you do this, it's very important to note, you've gotta use a Teflon-based pipe dope. Oil-based pipe dopes are known for drying out rubber seals and gaskets, and obviously that's a big rubber seal that's around that element. So Teflon-based pipe dope. If pipe dope makes you uncomfortable, because this will trigger some people, me saying this pro tip, go ahead and use 100% silicone-based plumber's grease, and that'll get the job done great as well. We just gotta make sure we have some kind of sealant in addition to that rubber, because if you go in dry with it, it is gonna leak on a percentage of these rebuilds when the tank heater has been in there for 15 years and it's crusty and it's got buildup and all that good stuff. So use the Teflon-based pipe dope or use silicone plumber's grease. Back to the video. So we're just gonna brush some of that pipe dope on there. Trying to hold it for the camera. This is probably not the cleanest pipe doping I've ever done. I cannot tell you how demoralizing it is to get all this together, fill the water heater up, get it firing, and then you find you've got a little drip of a leak from this seal right here. That is, and it's always at 7 o'clock on Friday night, right? It always is. So we're gonna go back in with this. And the challenge here is that element's heavy on the end, so it's pulling it down and wants to kind of cross thread. You've got to use some finger strength and keep it up, keep it square, so you can start those threads by hand. All right. Now remember, this is not tapered threads. This is a rubber seal. It's sealing because it's making compression against the side of the water heater. So you're gonna put this on here. We got a lot of leverage at this breaker bar. We don't want to hurt anything, but we want to just get that nice and snug in there. Yep, and we look at it, it didn't cut, it didn't split out, looks fantastic. After we do that, I'm gonna go ahead and loosen up the screws here. We're gonna get our electrical back in. Because I'm a plumber, not an electrician, I like to take extra special care with my electrical connections to make sure that I'm doing them as good as I possibly can. So when I go back in with the wires, I like to put a little bend in the wire in the clockwise direction around those screws. And that's gonna help it grab and make an even better connection than if I just shove the wire straight into the side and tighten the screw on it. See, that wire is going around the screw in the direction that it tightens. That's a really, really good connection. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. All right, now that I've got the element replaced, I've got the electrical tied back in, the next step is fill it back up with water. So if this were connected, we're gonna turn the ball valve on. I'm gonna open up this T&P because as the water comes up from the bottom, I wanna make sure the air is released. You could have a situation where it created a big airlock, big air bubble in here, and you don't wanna risk this thing dry firing. It needs to be fully submerged before you actually turn the power on. So once the water fills up and we get some water coming out of here, we shut that off, we let it fill the rest of the way, even bleed out some air in the hot water lines throughout the home. Once all that's been done, then go to your disconnect or your breaker, turn the power back on, and then you're gonna wanna come back here and you're gonna wanna confirm that it's actually firing, all right? So there's two tests that are wise to do every single time. One test is the hear test. You wanna actually put your ear on the side of the water heater and listen for what sounds like a light bulb in the middle of a big empty warehouse. Like a that's what it sounds like, all right? If you hear that, chances are you're in good shape, but trust but verify. So break out the multimeter, turn it back on to AC voltage, come in, you make sure that you got power to the top of the heater. Remember, you wanna be reading 240 because it's 120 and 120, you wanna be reading 240. And then when that element is firing, you put your prongs right on that element and you should be reading 240 as well. Okay, now it's important to note that once all the water in the upper half of the water heater is hot, it will stop sending juice to this element and it will send juice to the bottom element. So both elements should typically never see 240 at the same time on a standard single phase water heater. You're either gonna get it at the top or you're gonna get it at the bottom based on where the thermostat is directing the power. If you're a homeowner and you're willing to take on a project like this, more power to you. I hope this video was really helpful and we're glad to help out. If it's a little over your head and you feel like you need to get the pros involved, we got all the parts in our warehouse. You're in the greater Knoxville area, give us a call. We'll get you taken care of.